How's it going, guys? Welcome to a Monday night live stream. Just figured I'd jump on here, maybe answer some questions, see if you guys have any questions for me regarding trucking and whatnot. And maybe we'll look at some trucks on truck paper because that's what we do. Wait for some people to get in here. How's it going, guys? I'm just gonna hang out and wait for some people to get in here and join. I kind of set it up earlier, kind of waiting for some people to join in here. Make sure my stream is working. How's it going? I'm just gonna hang out. If feel free to ask me questions. But I'm gonna kind of hang out and wait for some more people to join in and get going and see if you guys want to see anything on truck paper. Thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right, we're starting to get some people in now. I'm just gonna check my stream, make sure everything's up and working. I just have to do it on my phone or a tablet to see. All right, looks like we are live and it is working. So I will use this to view all my comments. But how are you guys doing out there? Just figured I would get on here Monday night. Don't got anything else better to do, and see if I can answer some questions for you guys. I haven't done one of these lives in a little while, ever since we went over, crazy, high truck prices and all that stuff. Big money, Jeremy Jones. Are you making big money? Or am I big money? Because hopefully you're the big money. So we all can figure out where to go to make the big money. Welcome, everybody. Just want to do a quick Q&A session. Trucking, owner-operator, this industry that we live in right now. And maybe we'll go over some trucks, prices, availability. A lot of my live streams before were going over like extremely high truck prices and whatnot. And I think prices are starting to come down, at least on used trucks. Jeremy, I'm big money. Nah, man, I'm like little money. I'm like small money. I'm trying to make my way up to big money. Maybe one day, but I'm trying, man. Trying to help you guys become big money. I'm just a guy out here trying to, drive a truck and make some money, but far from big money. I wish though. But the point of this channel is to try to help you guys become big money, especially in the owner operator space, because there's still a lot of opportunity out there. Depending on where you want to go, construction's huge across the country right now. A lot of projects, especially going into summertime. Over the road wise, flatbed's still good. I don't know about reefer. I heard that might have slowed down a little bit, but I'm in the oil and gas, and that's hit or miss. It has its ups and downs, but it's been pretty steady. Okay, Islam. Can I find a company hiring someone who wants to work as a truck driver? Like, are you wanting to work as a truck driver? Is that what you're asking? Or Are you asking like if you want if you have a truck and you want to hire on a driver to a company? Jeremy, quick question. I was offered a to work in the oil field hauling sand in Midwest. How is the oil field work? Is all hype about money. So here's the down and dirty about the oil field, because I've been in this industry for 10 years. It's really good when it's good, and it's pretty dead when it's dead, if you know what I mean. So some weeks and months will be really good and you'll make a lot of money. But it can be up and down. It can be kind of inconsistent at times. So hauling sand, I used to have trucks doing that years back, and it was good when it was good. Like we make a lot of money when it was busy, and then it would kind of slow down for maybe a week or two at a time. And but no, man, the money's real, but the big money's real, but it's not always big money. Like sometimes it'll be pretty slow and dead. You'll be sitting on your butt thinking, "What the heck am I doing?" You know, and then you'll be about to leave and go do something else, and then things will kick off again. So as far as sand is concerned, sand's pretty busy right now, but it is also like it can be up and down. Islam, I've never worked in this field before. The truck driving field, yeah. So, like, do you have your CDL, Islam, and are you looking to get your CDL, or what's your plans with that? Because if you want to work in the trucking field, you obviously got to go get a CDL, and I've got a lot of videos on that, and it's pretty easy to get your CDL. If you've got a clean record, and as far as like you can probably get your CDL with it, but then to get hired on a job, you're gonna need to have like a pretty decent driving record, and pass all your classes and get that license and get some endorsements and learn where you want to go. There's the trucking industry is so vast, and it's such a huge economy within itself that there's so many different things you can do from all corners of the country. I mean, anywhere in the country, there's different trucking fields out there for sure. But yeah, Jeremy, hopefully that answered your question. It doesn't hurt to go try it out, but is it down when fuel prices are down or just randomly? No, fuel prices don't like directly affect it as much as you may think. Like because it's all about the price of oil, and obviously the higher the price of oil is, the higher gas is, relatively speaking, or at least it should be. Sometimes we have anomalies where it doesn't make sense why one might be higher and the other might be lower. But for the most part, it stays pretty consistent because even if gas and oil prices go down, unless they're down for a long, long time, then it'll start to directly affect us. But in the last 10 years, you've been able to stay pretty steadily busy, um, even with like oil prices going up and down, because there's contracts that they got to fulfill. Like when they go to drill a well, they've got to finish that up. They can't just stop, and then they got to get that oil out of the ground, and in order to get the oil out of the ground, they got to haul the sand to the frac to get it out of the ground. It's just part of the process. So they might have a few jobs that need to be completed. Even if prices go down, they still got to finish those jobs. So it's not a direct correlation, but it definitely as a future outlook, it can be definitely a factor to pay attention to, but not necessarily. No, like if prices go down doesn't mean that there's no more work. The work might just generally slow down a little bit. But like right now, to be honest with you, like what I do, oil prices have been at an all-time high for the last, 6 months or so. And we haven't been that crazy busy. Hopefully it'll be ramping up and getting busier as the summer goes on, and then up until the end of the year. Like we were booming last year. There's a lot of big money to be made last summer around this time of year. All the way up until the end of the year, we were busy as hell. Okay, so it's pay per ton. So the guy told me for 22 tons, it's 450. Yeah, and that'll all depend on like the mileage too. Like, so usually you'll get paid like 0 to 5 miles will pay a certain amount. Then 5 to 10 miles and then like 10 to 15 miles and so on and so forth. So that's kind of how it works. Like the farther you're driving that load, the more pay you get. And then it is based off the weight as well. But if you're only going 5 miles, that might only pay $300 or $250. Whereas if you're driving 35 miles, it may pay close to that 450 mark, or you might even have to drive a little bit more than that. So it all just depends on how far you're taking it. But yeah, some areas are booming right now for sand, and some areas are slower than others. But just be prepared that it is kind of up and down. So you might work like 2 months straight, busy, busy, and then it might slow down for like a week or two. So just be prepared for that. So the trip, yeah, okay. So the trip is around 30 to 50 miles. So yeah, that makes sense. That sounds about right. And then depending on, sometimes you have some wait time, and they don't like to pay too much on wait time on the sand side. Like usually you have to wait about 2 hours before you start getting paid. But if there's not a lot of wait time, you might be able to do like 3 or 4 loads. So, that's almost, that's, getting into, the ballpark of, $1,600, or $1,800 if you do 4 loads. So you can definitely kill it. When it's good, it's really good. But just be prepared that it it is kind of inconsistent. Like I haul oil, which is a lot more specialized field. Um, Fortunately, but unfortunately, so we're a little more consistent, except for here lately. Here lately, it's been kind of slow for us, but hoping it's going to pick up here soon. Yeah, have you guys been looking at truck prices here lately? I haven't really looked at a lot of the different prices around, but I've actually potentially got a truck on order and kind of see what the prices are doing with those. So the guy's fee is 15% plus 750 for chassis per rent per load. That's pretty normal. Is this running under his authority or your own authority in DOT? Islam, no, I don't have a CDL license. Besides, I am in Egypt and I am looking for a company that wants driver from other countries. Well, so basically, with that, you're gonna have to make your way over here and figure out whether on a work visa or like a temporary visa. I don't know exactly how you do that, but I know a lot of guys have done it in the past. You'd have to come over here and get a CDL. And in your case, the big hurdle is getting over here. I've heard a lot of guys actually get into Canada. It's a lot easier for them to get into Canada, and then they get their CDL up there, and then they either stick around up there, and then come down to the States, the lower 48. So, but that's also an option. I know a lot of guys that I talk to have told me that they're in Canada. It was a lot easier to get a. I don't know how Canada works as far as like work visas and whatnot. Jeremy, okay, yeah, under your authority, yeah, so that's pretty common. 15% is not too bad. I think I charge guys when I had my own authority and we were doing sand, I charged them about 10 or 15% if I remember correctly. So, or I charged them 10% and then I charged them 5% for factoring so that they could get paid, in the next couple weeks. And then so it came out to be about, and then the company we ran for, they didn't charge for the chassis. They just kind of threw them in there. But nowadays, everybody wants to charge for them, which is understandable because those things are they're pretty high consumables. Those chassis take a beating. Islam, you're welcome, man. No problem. Basically, yeah, man, you just gotta kind of get over here if you, which however you can, and then get a CDL. There's companies out there that will get you your CDL, and then if as long as you work for them for maybe like a year or two, and then they'll kind of go through the process with you. But I don't know if you if you have to have citizenship or not on that. So don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if you're on a work visa. I don't know if they'll do that for you or not. But it doesn't help to ask. John Prez, easy ways to finance a used truck. Yeah, man. So there's a lot of different companies out there. There's a lot of different finance companies that'll finance used trucks. Depending on what area you're in, there's try out your local banks, like your small like local hometown banks. So one of my biggest greatest relationships through finance company was through a local bank in my area. But the only unfortunate part about it is a lot of guys are like, hey man, let me know like what bank you go through. And unfortunately, my bank only works with local like people that are in the area, like or within like the state. And so basically, like out of Colorado, they so basically, I don't know what area you're out of, but there's a couple of finance companies like Amur Equipment Finance. That's a good one. AMUR, and then Equipment Finance, and then there is PNC Capital. Um, and also, if you're looking to buy a truck through a dealership, they usually will have financial banks that they know of as well. And then Daimler Financial, if you're looking to get like a Freightliner, they have also very good options as well. And but the only problem with them is it's got to be a Western Star or Freightliner brand. But that's how I got one of my first used trucks, was through them. It was like about $5,000 down. And then John, also, how much money you're looking to put down? Because usually you're going to need to put about 10 to 25% down, depending on your credit. And a lot of times, how it works in the trucking world is it might be a little bit more difficult to get into your first truck, but once you establish that record, like that credit history with financing a truck, once you go into finance your second or third truck, it's a lot easier, and they'll maybe require a lot less money down to do so. So hopefully that helps. But PNC Capital is a company I used. Amur Equipment Finance is another one. And then Daimler Financial, which is like Daimler Freightliner Financial. I think if you go on Freightliner's website, they should have links to head over there. And if you want, I could jump on some of these websites right now and kind of show you if that would help too, because now I can share my screen and all that stuff, and get off truck paper and then go for something different. Jeremy Jones. Okay, thank you for answering my question. No problem, man. Let me know if you have any other questions. That is a field I do work in that industry, so it can be pretty rewarding, but it can be kind of crappy as well. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna share my screen here and show you guys some of these websites that I'm talking about, so that you guys can get kind of see what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to get them pulled up here. All right. So I'm just going to go to Google, and then we can kind of search from there. So basically, mirror equipment. So right here, Amir Equipment Finance. This is one of the ones I've used right here. Is here on the right. They're out of Nebraska. So here's one of them. I'm also looking to do a sponsorship with them as well, just because they really help out a lot. So this is one that I've went through, and they ask for about 10% down as well, which is pretty normal. Usually it's about 25%. And then let's see, here's a Daimler Financial. So here's another one. This is a really good one. This is who I got my first truck through, and I had pretty decent credit. I don't know what your credit looks like. Yeah, this is basically if you're looking to get into like a Freightliner, which is trucks that I actually run. Yeah, so you just get on these websites, contact some of these people, and talk to them. So there's the other one, and then if you're on the East Coast, like Pennsylvania area, I don't know where these guys are exactly out of, but PNC Equipment. Let's see. Let's see here. So here's another one, PNC Equipment Finance. This one's out of Ontario, Canada. Let's see here. I believe it's just PNC Bank, if I'm not. So here's the PNC Bank's official website. Let's see here. Go under small business. Let's see your business loans. So this one's a little hard to navigate around. I know I'm kind of flying through and just trying to see what I'm, yeah. This is the other one, PNC. I'm not finding their equipment website, but they leased one of my pieces of equipment for me as well. So that's kind of another one. And then if you just go in your area and just go to Google and just search, see here. Truck financing. There's going to be a lot of companies that come up. CAG Truck Capital, that's another one that I've heard of. Yeah, if you just want to look at your area, that definitely helps. But this one right here is probably one of your best bets is Amir Equipment Finance or Daimler if you're like a first-time truck buyer. But yeah, we'll look at some other stuff. But yeah, basically it all comes down just to going to your local small-time bank. To be honest with you. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions for me regarding that. I get that one a lot. How do you finance a used truck? Used trucks are a little more difficult than new trucks. It's kind of weird because a new truck is so much more expensive, right? And then you'd think it'd be easier to finance a used truck than a new truck because of the price. But if you have the money, they will finance a new truck easier than they will a used truck. But to me, it always seemed backwards because a used truck might only be 50,000, where a new truck will be 150,000. But I guess as far as getting their asset back, maybe they feel that a new truck they won't lose as much money if they have to get the equipment back from you or whatnot. Yeah, we're gonna go back to truck paper. I just want to see what some of these new trucks are costing and see if there's any availability. Availability is still pretty tight, to be honest with you. Um, Still pretty hard to get. John Perez, what starter trucks do you like? Honestly, it kind of depends on what you're looking to do. Obviously going after a sleeper is definitely, if you're gonna be like over the road or just for a backup plan, looking for a sleeper truck, that's definitely what I would look into for sure. I typically like um, Freightliners, particular. That's kind of what I run, but I run heavy spec Freightliners. I don't run like normal over the road trucks. But I've had some good luck with some of those in the past. Um, Basically, go for a manual transmission. I want to deal with an automatic because those tend to have some issues, and just the maintenance costs are higher on them. Like some Kenworths, and you can find newer ones that are lower miles. Those are decent. Definitely go for a Cummins. I want to get a PACCAR. Um, in every trucking category, there's trucks that I would recommend. Definitely stay with a Detroit or a Cummins. Probably be your best bet starting off, especially if you're getting like a used truck. I would stay away from PACCARs and like they don't really make cats anymore, but definitely would like if it's an emissions truck, I would definitely stay away from a cat motor if it's an emissions truck. But other than that, there's a lot of options. A lot of it's just about getting on truck paper and looking for a decent deal. Looking for what you can afford and looking at going look in the truck, make sure everything checks out. But there's tons of options out there. Michael, still no on Volvo. Man, I don't know enough about Volvos. I know some guys that run older ones, but I just have never dealt with them. And I hear they're nice trucks, but I would, as like a starter truck, I mean, unless it was like given to you or maybe you got a really good deal on it, I can't speak on it because I don't have enough experience with them. I've heard that they can be pretty expensive to fix, but nowadays, every truck is expensive to fix. Uh, Parts are expensive for everything, and every truck has their little quirks and issues. Like some trucks have better reliability in some areas than others. So for me, Volvo is probably a no because I've never dealt with them. I don't know enough about them. I know a company that runs brand new ones, but they seem to be pretty happy with them. They've got a pretty crazy warranty for like brand new Volvos, um, but that's all I know about them. Resale value. Michael, you asked about resale value. As far as like, give me a specific there, like resale value on what exactly? Let's see here. I'm just kind of looking at some of these used trucks here. Just kind of see where prices are at. Prices have gone down on some things a little bit, but then other trucks they really haven't gone down that much. But like as far as like gliders, like Freightliner gliders, 'cause I was really big into that market for a while, and they definitely have gone down in price for sure. But everything else, like these are a pretty good go to. Like T800s are pretty decent if you can find a good one that's lower mileage with a Cummins in it and it's not beat up. If I didn't have Freightliners, I would definitely go after, one of these trucks. But these are a lot more popular. So I was just kind of looking at what Kenworths are going for. Because, Kenworths and Peterbilts are always going to be a higher premium. Oh, yeah, Michael. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. For resale value. So they want to be sure they can get back that money on that asset for sure. But it still doesn't make sense. I mean, you think that they would see you less risky on a cheaper truck that you can afford. That's just like how it doesn't really make sense for banks that if you have bad credit or not as good of credit, they want more money down and they'll charge you a higher interest rate, which you think would be harder to afford for affordability wise. And then if you have good credit, they require less money down and a lower interest rate. So that's always kind of been seems to be a little backwards to me as well. Because if you're have challenge credit, then you think that you'd want higher interest rate would be harder to keep paying on or whatnot. Let's see. I'm going to go back to see if they have any like newer trucks, like new. See what they're. 'Cause, yeah, they're asking crazy prices for new trucks, and it's hard to get new trucks right now as well. Let's just go over Kenworth in general. See what pops up here. Um, C and K, are you able to get warranty on used trucks? Yes, you can, but I always be really careful with aftermarket because that'll be an aftermarket warranty. And I've been hosed in the past through aftermarket um, warranties because they just find a way to get out of them. Unless it's like a factory warranty, like if you get a truck that's got like 100 or 200,000 miles on it, usually some of the factory warranty will still be left on it. That would be the only way I would go with a warranty. But other than that, like aftermarket warranties really they don't like to pay out, because they want to keep that money. So they want to find ways to, kind of not pay for repairs because that's how they make their money. Kind of like insurance. Insurance doesn't want to pay out claims. Same with warranties. They're like insurance companies. They don't want to pay out on claims if they don't have to. Yeah, so prices are still a little high for sure. I don't see any new trucks either, which is understandable. New trucks are hard to get. You still have some really high, high mileage trucks that are still fetching over $100,000, which isn't ideal. Like this is I mean, this is pretty crazy. A 2020 truck with almost 400,000 miles. They're asking 172,000. That's pretty high. Same with this one, 400,000 miles for just an over the road, sleeper truck. Your standard T680, those are pretty common nowadays. 170,000 for that. Jeez. Look at this one. A 2020 Kenworth W900. It's got 250,000 miles on it. And it's literally $205,000, which is just insane. So Kenworths really haven't gone down in price, but that's what's going to happen right now when there's not a lot of inventory available. Some of these people can just ask whatever they want, and there's not really any repercussion, because there seems to be people that are willing to pay it, because they can't find trucks, which I can understand that, but dang, these prices are pretty crazy. Especially if like you're starting out, it's hard to start out when you're kind of setting yourself up for a rough go at it if you're already somewhat overpaying for a truck, considering what trucks were worth a couple years ago. You might not be overpaying now because the market value of like trucks currently, but in the overall scheme of things, it feels like you're overpaying given what they were worth a couple years ago. Yeah, it's like typically like trucks like these are just like, your run of the mill over the road trucks. Nothing special, Like this is a 450,000 miles on a 2019. Yeah, it's a lot newer truck, but it's only 400 horsepower, which is a lower horsepower for sure. And they're almost asking $150,000 for it. And, a million-mile truck is pretty used. So, like, almost 500,000 miles, it's half used. These trucks would be like maybe 80 or $90,000, a couple years back. But we're hoping that these prices start going down, as more inventory comes online, which it is happening. They are getting more inventory is coming for sure, but it's just taking longer than expected with all the delays and everything going on. But you definitely have to be careful out there and make sure that you're not getting a bad deal. Because some of these trucks may not be as in good of shape as what some people are claiming. Then you're kind of paying a high price for it. You just gotta be careful of that for sure. Okay, let's see here. Ugh. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of these prices, and I'm kind of shocked that at least for these makes and models, they don't seem like they've gone down at all. Unfortunately, it seems like they've just gone up in price, which is definitely, kind of heartbreaking for some guys out there that are looking to get into the industry because these prices are just crazy right now. Which that unfortunately has become the theme of my live streams is these prices are crazy. I'm hoping eventually they start coming down for sure. But I don't know. I don't even want to know what used ones are going for. Or I'm sorry, they say used or new ones. Yeah. Man, these prices are just crazy. I mean, because typically these were roughly, 150 to 160,000 dollars brand new, and they've got 500,000 miles on them. So, theoretically they should be like half price, half of that, 75, 80,000, not 120. But let's look at, or actually, I'm going to just type in, go down here. There's some long pages. Let's go year maximum 2023 and then go to 2021. So we can't find in that realm what, like a new truck, what they're asking for new trucks. John Perez, what kind of freight did you start hauling when you got your first truck? So I haul tankers. So I'm in like the hazmat tanker industry. So basically, I already had my hazmat and had some experience. So I started hauling a hazmat tanker, which isn't really ideal for someone to get into. Because it's such a specialized field. Like it's a little harder to get into that industry, as a brand new owner operator. Usually you have to have a couple years of experience, which I was lucky to have a couple years of experience in the industry already doing that same thing. So that's why I started off with. But it's not as easy to do that starting out for, usually. I got pretty lucky. It's not impossible though. I don't think I would have been able to start it if I didn't have experience though. Like I definitely, probably would have had to have a couple years of experience to get into it. So basically there's yeah, the price of new trucks is pretty high still. 2022 at 15,000 miles, $200,000. Whew. This T680 is $252,000, 250 grand. Wow. Huh. I think some of these people, I don't know if they like buy a new truck and they're just like wanting to cash in on the high prices and get rich or make some big money, I guess. Yeah, like this, 2020 Kenworth W900. It's got almost 200,000 miles on it, asking 195,000. And this is probably the truck was probably like 180,000 brand new, I'd assume, depending on when the guy ordered it. Like if you paid for it in 2020, it might have actually been a lot less than that. Here's a T680 for 220,000. It's only got 20,000 miles on it, so it's pretty much brand new. Crazy. Yeah, I just kind of want to see what, new or almost new trucks we're going for. because it is crazy. If you are looking to get into this or looking to upgrade, buy another truck, you can almost buy a new truck for the price of what used trucks are. If you can get your hands on one, you might have to wait like 6 months to a year for it, but you definitely might be better off just going with a new one versus paying for a used one, overpaying. Michael, why pay that much of a truck and a third of that price can still do the same job with same pay? Yeah, no, I agree. Problem is there's not a whole lot of cheap truck options out there. I completely agree. Because that was a common thing that I used to always hear about. When guys had like older trucks that were not as nice or whatnot, but still safe and legal to run. They weren't like pieces of junk. They just weren't new or that nice. But they still ran fine and they still got the job done. They're like, you make the same amount of money as those guys do. So because I started off with a cheaper truck, I started off with a $40,000 truck, and there's guys rolling around with something like this. They're rolling around with like newer W900s that were, $150,000 or $100,000 at the time. And I was rolling around in a $40,000 truck. And yeah, it's not as nice and flashy, but it still did the same job. And that was a common thing that, we always talked about as well back then was, you don't make more money because you have a nicer, more expensive truck. Now, your truck may be more reliable if it's newer and more expensive, but if you have two trucks that are in good shape, one's not going to make more money than the other for sure. So I do agree with you on that. But it's a lot harder to find a good deal on a truck for sure. 234,000 for a new W900. That's just crazy. The bad part is like, I do a lot of searching on truck paper and whatnot, and you find yourself starting to get used to the prices, which is bad too. Is you see all these trucks for over $100,000, and like you find one, you're like, oh, it's like, let's see here if I can find one like, wow, 284,000. That's pretty ridiculous. So you'll find a truck that's, well, if I can find one now. Anyways, like you start, these prices are getting embedded in your mind, and then you see a truck that's like 110,000. You're like, oh man, that's a dang good deal. And then you start to think to yourself, well, crap, man, like 2 years ago that truck was probably 60 to $70,000, and now it's 110 because everything's like seems like it's over $100,000 for a decent used truck. It should be 50. You kind of get wrapped up in that, you know, mindset as well. Like, holy crap, what am I doing? You know. I definitely agree. So that's just wanted to do a quick look at the market, and yeah, it's still pretty crazy and overpriced. I've seen some relief in some areas, but for like the most common and like name brands, it's still like pretty expensive out there, which hopefully rates will start to go up as well. They should. I would imagine that rates will have to go up. They've been going up in some areas, staying flat in other areas, but hopefully things start to shift to our benefit for sure. right now, one of the problems that we're facing is just finding consistent work. That's kind of what we're trying to figure out right now. Yeah, don't lose hope though. If you keep looking, sometimes good deals do pop up. But the only problem right now is you gotta be fast. You gotta be quick. Like if you're looking to get a truck financed, um, got to get that pre-approval. Work with your bank or finance company or leasing company, whoever it may be. Get a pre-approved amount. Maybe show them a truck that like a type of truck that you're looking at to get approved. Is you might have to bring them a truck to see if you can get approved. Not bring them a truck, but show them a truck like on truck paper here, and then like you'll have to like show them this truck. Give them all the details of this truck right here, and then see if you can get approved for something of that nature. Obviously, not a $200,000 example, but find one that's a little bit cheaper example, and then just keep looking. And as soon as you find a great deal, be ready to jump on it because there's going to be a lot of the people jumping on it as well. The last truck I bought, I literally, it was on there for a day or two, and the guy was local to me, so I was able to jump on it pretty fast. But even before I could give him a deposit, like cash deposit to hold it, because it was local to me, he already had like 3 or 4 other guys that were calling him about it and wanting to put deposits down as well. So I kind of had to jump on it, and then even after that, he said that he was just getting tons and tons of phone calls. I kind of told him that there was a pending sale on it already. And then when I was looking for gliders, that was even worse. Oh my gosh, I called on like probably, it was probably 10 or 15 different gliders, and they were all spoken for. They had already been sold, or a guy was coming to look at it, and I found one, and that one ended up being a disaster. Luckily, I did my due diligence on it, and quickly run a VIN check on it too, or a Carfax as well if you find trucks for sale, just to see kind of what the history is, if there is any. There's not usually a whole lot of history on trucks, but it'll definitely tell you if it has like a branded title, accident, or if there's some issue with like something weird on it. So that's something to look into. But yeah, I found the one. I called the guy, put a deposit down, and then I ended up having to give my deposit back because after I did a VIN check on it and everything, it was not what they said it was. But then the second one, I ended up getting bought. Literally, I called the guy. It was like 6 o'clock at night. They posted the ad like maybe an hour ago, and I called the guy at like 6 or 7. So it was like 9 o'clock their time. Called him again at 7 or 8, and he finally picked up, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I was able to put a deposit down on it that night at like 10 o'clock at night. And he said that his phone did not stop ringing from like the 6 o'clock to like 10 o'clock his time, but no one was like willing to, put their money where their mouth was and put a deposit down. And just because I knew the market and I kind of knew what I was looking at, I was like, nope, put a deposit down. That one's mine. And he had already had like about 20 phone calls on it within like 4 hours. And I flew out there and bought it. So it worked out. But that's just the nature of the market right now, and that was before it got a lot crazier nowadays. But I can only imagine it's probably a lot worse now. This was about a year and a half ago. Jeff, if you were just starting out in trucking, where would you start? Obviously, gas being where it is, it probably isn't the best time to start now, but what is your advice? Do you want to start out as a driver, or like, do you already have your CDL, Jeff? Like, are you already a driver? Are you looking to get into being an owner operator, or just getting into like the trucking industry as a driver? because there's a oh man, I mean, there is a severe driver shortage right now. So if you're looking to become a driver, it's a good time because everybody needs drivers. I mean, everybody always really needs drivers in the normal market, but right now there's like a couple million shortage of drivers right now. I heard a statistic the other day, and I didn't know if it was correct, but there was a crazy number of open driving positions. Like, I didn't even know if I could believe the number that they were quoting, but it was in the millions of needing like open truck driving positions, which the last I heard like a couple years ago, there was like 80,000 driver open jobs. I think just in like some certain states, like a 3 or 4 state area had like 80,000 truck openings, and then across the country it was a couple 100,000. So there's definitely a need for drivers for sure. And driving wages are going up for company drivers for sure, depending on where you're at. It's not the case everywhere, but for the most part, it is the case across the board. Yeah, good time to get in as a driver. You know, make as much money as you can, save up, and then wait for some of these prices to come down because eventually they will come down. May not be today, may not be tomorrow. It may be 6 months or a year from now. But then if you're a new driver, that'll give you time to get your experience. You know, make your mistakes as a company driver, not as an owner operator, because then you got to pay for those mistakes. You know, and then in about a year or so, hopefully, prices have come down. And then if you enjoy the trucking industries, it's not for everyone. You know, it's not my favorite. You know, I'm very happy and, you know, very blessed to be where I'm at, and, you know, very, you know, feel very fortunate, but it's still not for everybody. You know, getting in a truck and driving all day or night is not for everybody. But if you like it, and also, you know, you got to find time to find that right industry that you like. You know, you might start driving OTR because that's like where you can get in at, and then, you know, do that for 6 months or a year, and then, you know, say, hey, I don't want to be over the road anymore, and then go, you know, work in construction, hauling, you know, a belly dump or a side dump or something like that, and just kind of find where you enjoy to be at, and then that'll help you when you know, become an owner operator. You'll know what direction you want to go as far as that's concerned. But it's not the best time to become an owner operator, unfortunately, just because the prices are so high for trucks. Diesel's really high, and you really got to have a good, you really got to work for a good customer that pays really well and it's consistent, especially with these high fuel prices, diesel prices. But I don't see any harm in becoming a driver right now. The demand is at all time high, and fuel prices really don't affect you as a company driver, as far as I know. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions. Been on here for about an hour. I'm probably gonna give it, you know, another 10 or 15 minutes unless I start getting a lot more questions, and then because I can sit here and talk all day, but I'd really like to answer some of your guys' questions that you might have for me, and not just, you know, you guys listen to me ramble about you know, random stuff, because it's the same story pretty much. You know, trucks are expensive, diesel's expensive, and rates need to go up. They've gone up some places, but not other places. Also, let me know what's a good time. Comment down below if you guys see this after the live streams ended. What's a good time you'd like to see some of these live streams if I start doing them more often? Trying to do them on a weekly basis there for a while. And now here coming up, I probably won't be able to do them as much as I'd like to. But we'll see what happens on that. Jay, what do I need to do to get my own authority? Thanks. So basically, there's a lot of third-party companies out there that will help you get your authority and DOT set up. They're online. They're on Google. Basically, you have to do an MCS 90. You have to get insurance. It's a pretty daunting task to do on your own if you haven't done it before. So there are definitely companies out there that are across the country that are like nationwide that'll help you get your authority in DOT. It'll cost you a little bit more, but they'll definitely help you get everything you need. It's about like a 4 or 5 step process, and you're gonna have to have some money as well, because not only does getting your authority cost money as far as like all the registration fees, and like there's a bunch of different paperwork you have to do, and every piece of paperwork you file is like $100 here, $100 there. And then your insurance, usually you have to prepay for that. Depending on what experience you have and how good your driving record is. Like if you go through Progressive is the most common. That's one I started out with. You literally have to buy in for the year. So if the policy, say it's like 12, usually it's about like $1,000 to $2,000 a month for insurance. So that cost might be, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 for the year. And sometimes you have to pay, a good chunk of that up front. Like with me, I had decent credit, so they let me put 10% down. So I had to pay like $2,000 to get my insurance started, where other guys I know they've had to put like maybe $5,000 down. And then these companies will help walk you through the process from there. And then definitely getting, later on, you're going to want to get an accountant or a CPA, to do your finances or whatnot. CK, what are the steps you take to look to are you able to get warranty on used trucks? Sorry, I'm just following up on something. I guess I missed this one. CK, how do you check if a used truck is a good one other than Cummins engine? Basically, you have to go out and look at it, put your hands on it, take a look at it. There's definitely different, signs of, wear, excessive wear on things. Cummins is probably the most popular engine. Detroit engines are good too, like DD15s. And basically, like they'll tell you what the truck has in it. Basically, you just gotta go out and look at it, start it up, drive it, make sure nothing feels weird. Unfortunately, a lot of this comes with experience, knowing if a truck has a problem or not. But that's the best you can do. Maybe have a mechanic look at it, and if they're willing to let you take the truck and have a mechanic look at it and whatnot. CK, what are the steps you take to look to, as far as steps for what? Be more specific so I can answer that question. John Press, is it worth to lease on? So as far as like leasing onto a carrier, that's what I do, because I used to have my own authority in DOT. Actually, I still have my own authority in DOT. I just don't use it right now. It's a lot more expensive. The loads might pay more, but then it's a lot more headache. So I've got videos on my channel, leasing on versus running your own authority in DOT, the pros and cons of that. I haul hazmat, so usually you lease on to a carrier to run hazmat, and then you just run under their dispatch. You pretty much are like driving for them as a company driver, except for it's your truck, maybe your trailer, maybe their trailer, depending on if you have your own trailer. I have my own trailer, so but I used to just lease their trailers. It's a lot less headache, but then they usually charge you more. They might charge you 25%, to lease onto them. Michael, thinking about doing a lease to own with a private seller, but he wants me to work under his DOT and authority. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It doesn't hurt to run under someone else's DOT and authority, especially if the pay is good. Make sure the pay is decent and the work is consistent. That's the biggest thing is you need consistent work, especially when you're starting off. That's the biggest thing is having that consistent work, because you don't want to end up where, you're not really working a whole lot. And if he's willing to let you run his DOT and authority, that's actually pretty good. That could be a pretty good deal because it gets your foot in the door. Like I was telling the other guy, it's a lot easier to lease on to somebody and run under their DOT and authority. And then if you choose to in the future run under your own, you kind of already know how things go, how the industry works. Jay, thank you. That is a good info. Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to help. That's what I'm here for. That's why I do these live streams, basically to answer your guys' questions the best of my ability, and keep you guys from making maybe the mistakes that I maybe have made that have costed me a lot of money, unfortunately. Because sometimes in this industry, there's not like a good roadmap how to do things in this industry. You just got to kind of get your feet wet and the school hard knocks. That's you learn by doing. And sometimes you meet guys like me. Like I met a couple guys like me that were at the time I wasn't experienced. They were really experienced. They were able to guide me a little bit. So if I can help guide some other people, steer them in the right direction, that's pretty much what this is all about. Michael, you're welcome. No problem. I said, happy to help. Because I know, like, when I got started, especially with my own authority and DOT, oh my gosh, there was I had no direction on that. I basically just jumped into it. Luckily, I had a good amount of money, but then I ended up, cost myself a lot of money, and I got off pretty lucky because I just happened to be in the right place, right time. But there are definitely times I could have saved myself a lot of money if I knew better. But unfortunately, a lot of this stuff there's no way to find out that easily. I mean, YouTube's a good tool, and Google nowadays for sure. Like, there's a lot more videos popping up on like the trucking industry and how to do this, how to do that. The biggest help to me, honestly, is if you're gonna work on your own truck, like repair videos. That's why I try to do a lot of repair videos, even though it might seem like something so simple and mundane and stupid. But I try to do a lot of repair videos because that's been the biggest help to me as far as YouTube goes. It's just these repair videos. There's a lot of things I fixed on my trucks that I wasn't quite sure on how to do it. I did have some good friends of mine that were mechanics and kind of, they didn't like help me repair the truck per se, but they told me how to do it and said they gave me pointers. Like I got in there and did the labor and the wrenching, but they definitely pointed me in the right direction. Like say, hey, make sure you do this before you do that. And then when you're putting it back together, do A and B so you don't, screw up and do this the wrong way. So they definitely were able to help me with that. And then there's a really awesome, he's a Hispanic guy on YouTube. He does a lot of repair videos. I don't know what his name is, Alfonso, I believe. But yeah, maybe I don't know if I'm correct on that name, but I'll have to, do a video and kind of give him some props because he does a lot of repair videos and he's very helpful. So that's helped a lot, especially nowadays. I mean, if you're paying a pretty good price for a truck, you've kind of used all your money to buy the truck. So you don't really have a lot of money to go and have someone else fix it. So you're going to have to fix a lot of stuff yourself. But yeah, that's a huge been a lifesaver for me, is just like YouTube repair videos for sure, because there's almost always a video somewhere on it. And even if it's a bad video, it at least gives you enough information to be able to figure it out. yourself. Even if they don't really answer your question, usually they can get you close enough to the answer. But yeah, thanks for the thumbs up, guys. I really appreciate it. Got a few people in here. Give it about 5 more minutes or so. See if you guys got any more questions for me. And I'm going to jump off here in about 5 minutes. But yeah, I enjoyed all the questions. I like the interaction. I like doing this, I don't like getting up here and just rambling. I like actually, showing you guys stuff like on truck paper and the finance companies I did in the earlier part of this video. Some good finance companies for like first time truck buyers, or even if you're looking to buy your second or third truck, they're still good options. And yeah, I really like answering questions. I don't like just, rambling and talking about random stuff too much. Yeah, I should have more videos coming up here soon. Gonna try to do more of these live streams as I can. I know I'm gonna be getting really busy in the next few months. But I do got some more truck repair videos coming up. And some pretty exciting stuff coming. So definitely I'm starting to try to do a lot more automotive stuff because that's really what I'm passionate about. Trucking is what has made it all possible. So I stick with that, but I definitely want to dabble more into the automotive side of things. Hopefully that's all your questions. I'm looking right now to see if I missed any. I think I've got all of them. All right, guys, have a good one. And John, no problem, man. I'm happy to help. But for every one of you, thank you for joining me. Happy to answer your questions. And have a good one and good luck out there on your purchases, repairs, and becoming a driver and all that good stuff. Feel free to comment on my videos. I'll try to answer your comments on the videos. Every time I get a comment on a video, I'll get a alert on my YouTube. So, check in there, and I will definitely answer some of your questions if I get the time. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep up on a lot of the comments, but I'll do the best I can. Have a good one. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys on the next one.